NBA Straya. How are you going? How you going? I hope you're right. You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's Monday. Oh, God. Mondays. Feeling fully Garfield today, I'll tell you that much. I hate Mondays. It is Monday, March 31, all day. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larry Armour Studios. What a weekend it was. The Grizzlies fired their coach. What? The season's almost done. I got a couple of thoughts about that. Patty Mills is out there making history. Enjoyed his little cameo the other day. And the Detroit Bad Boys are back. I love it. Let's go. Rodney Stuckey walked so that Cade Cunningham and these bad boys could run. Forget Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumas. Anyway, we've got some weekend winners and losers for you. We've got the game rounds very quickly. We've got the NBA Australia Awards for the day. That's the night, mate, no mate, Spud of the night, better than Lonzo Ball. We'll get some the Unpopular Opinion of the day, an Outback Takehouse, Australia Player Watch, and the Shane Hill shoot your shot, light 'em up award. Love that one. After the Australian Player Watch, it's sort of when it gets a bit groovy. We've got an awesome set of games for tomorrow as well. They'll be picked and previewed, as always, brought to you by Dabble. Go follow NBA Australia. Click on the links in the thing if you want to follow along every pick that we make. All the vibes, it's right there. Go check it out. Smash that code NBA Australia when you sign up. Help your mate Jim out. Got to keep this pirate ship afloat. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 1235. Oh, that's not as cool, is it? Oh, 1235 NBA Australia. Let's go.
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Darcy Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Nick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Australia.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better watch out for the man of steel, the great barrier thief, Dyson Daniels. You just heard him right then at the end of that sting. He's out there setting franchise records now in steals for your Atlanta Hawks. How good is that? We'll talk about that in a second. Let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Australia. Is it usually with you whinging, Jim? Yes, but still, it's also that daily whip around. Oh, I see what he did there. Not too much whinging from me today. The foot is slowly on the mend. The anti-inflammatories have done their job. I'm limping. I was able to limp, most of the way down a bit of a hill here in Brunswick to drop the scoot off at school and, limp around the house and help old mate out a little bit more, which is nice. So thanks for all the messages of, oh, geez, Jim, you're getting old. It's like, yes, I'm getting old. And I do like tins, and here we are. Either way, let's start today's show with the whip around and the biggest news from the weekend. What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
What was that? What the hell was that?
The Grizzlies fired their coach. Seriously?
This is horrible. There's no other way to put it.
I mean, in nearly almost 6 seasons, Taylor Jenkins took the Grizzlies from absolutely just nowhere. They were 44-29 when he got fired. This isn't exactly like, the shades of, what was that Cleveland coach, David, bloody hell, what was his name? Cleveland Cavaliers coach, David, what was his name? Oh, God. David Blatt. Yeah, remember him? He had them firing and he got shit canned. It was weird. Anyway, Taylor Jenkins, he was 250 and 214 across his entire tenure there in Memphis. It's pretty crazy. They were the 5 seed currently in the Western Conference. But you hear all the Grizzlies fans going, but we couldn't beat anyone good. And they were just sort of tail spinning a bit. They'd lost 4 of the last 5 by an average of 16.5 points. And had gone 8-12 in their last 20 games. And the defense, the defense had actually, I feel like, being on the improve. The thing is, doesn't this just strike everybody else as absolutely wild? Not only are you 44-29, you're an actual contender. You're 2 weeks out from the end of this, a week and a half out from the end of the season, basically. And you're like, nope, we can do better. Really? With this roster right now, I was asked about this on the weekend a couple of times, and I'm like, oh, it sounds like a bit of a Ja Morant power play. Ja and his dad rattling their sabers. And then you read into it a bit, and you're like, oh, no, seemingly Ja loved Taylor Jenkins. He was a bit more frustrated with the offense, was Ja Morant, who understood that it was a bad look coming back for the first game post Taylor Jenkins being fired against the Lakers on the weekend. He understood that. But it turns out when you read into this situation, the way the Grizzlies, and like if you watch them a bunch this year, I have, the offense always just looked a bit weird because you got giant Zach Edey, who they take in the lottery this year or last year, and otherwise you got this really awesome young running gun, fast, shove it down your throat sort of offense around Triple J, Desmond Bane, and Ja Morant and co. And then you got big plotting Zach Edey, and they're not even really using him in pick and rolls as much as he ought to be. Like, that's what Ja loves. And they were sort of doing much more of a weird offense that had been sort of instilled in the off-season by Taylor Jenkins' new staff, essentially. They made him shit-can a bunch of his assistants last year, and they brought in a bunch of new dudes, and it feels like a bit of push and pull between the front office going, play Zach Edey, we need to be better half court. And he's like, but your entire offense is based around speed. These two things don't fucking match. What are you talking about? And Zach Kleiman's just gone, right, in the neck, bang. See ya, Taylor Jenkins. And I always, look, when it comes to coach firings, I come down to one very, very fucking simple premise. Who's going to do better? Not even right now, but like start of next season. Like, this is the thing when you move on from someone like Buds if you're Milwaukee, or if you're, I don't know, moving on from Doc Rivers in Philly and you're like, Nick Nurse. Or even Toronto moving on from Nick Nurse. Turns out Nick Nurse isn't very good. But the good upside is obviously Cleveland going from JB Bickerstaff to my man Kenny Atkinson. Or, flip side, Detroit going from the absolute train wreck of Monty Williams to JB Bickerstaff. Like, there's weird little stratas in NBA coaching. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in NBA, in NAS. I just don't want to bang on too much about it. It just seems weird, right? Like, what is your plan? That's a real simple, just organizational question. And like, this doesn't go for just basketball. It goes for like fucking any sort of business. Like, what's your plan here? And how does it sort of make up for the shortfall in talent? And it's really, really hard. So they, Tuomas Lisalo, he's like the Euro Cup coach of the year from last year. He was the interim head coach now. They also fired one of the dudes who installed this new offense, which was on basically the GM, who then took Zach Edey and is like, why are you guys not making this work? It's like, because it doesn't fucking match, you idiot. You wanted a really, really overhauled offense, a really fast-paced one, having a crack, and it's like, why is the defense not better? It's because they're fucked from playing offense so fast, you idiot. Oh, why is the half-court offense not better? It's because it's not how it's fucking designed. It's insane. And I hate this when this is like a management principle as well, right? When you go, well, this isn't working. It's not my fault. It's like, but you made all the decisions, you fucking idiot. What are we doing here? So, Taylor Jenkins is out. I'll talk about this again later. It's crazy. And the Grizzlies are going to pop up again in a second. We had a punch on. How good was that today? You had 7 players and coaches kicked out of the Detroit-Minnesota game today, including the aforementioned JB Bickerstaff, coach of the Detroit Basketball Pistons. Big Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart, fighting Ron Holland, fighting round the world. I've never met a motherfucker I didn't want to punch, he says. As well as Marcus Sasser, who was just like, I'm here. What are we doing? You also had Naz Reid kicked out and Dante DiVincenzo, as well as my beloved Pablo Prigioni. I love Pablo. The life of Pablo Prigioni. I love that the Wolves were like, yeah, Pablo would do anything not to do the halftime interview, including getting kicked out and getting into a fight. So you had 8.5 minutes left in the second quarter. There's just a bit of brouhaha brewing already between Beef Stew and Dante and Naz. And then it all kicked off and Ron Holland's like, what's that? Does that smell like a bit of a fracas? There's a bit of a fracas that I will be there and I will punch on. And I love it. I absolutely love this re-emergence, this bad boys entity there in Detroit. Big Beef Stew, Roland Holland, your mate Jim is all over it. I love this Pistons team. They're radical. Unfortunately, they then got their heads kicked in by the Wolves. I'll talk about that in a second. And then finally, a little bit of news at the end of this one. Paddy Mills! Remarkable achievement over the weekend. Came off the bench in 7 minutes, lit up for 14 points, right? So we'll talk about that in Australian Player Watch. But in doing so, passed Jam Jamal Crawford for the second most threes in NBA history off the bench. That is absolutely awesome. We'll go through the list later. Right. That's some news. This is absolutely game, like day in, day out. The NBA is just like, bro, we have no news. Mostly the news is Stephen A. Smith and whatever dumb fuckery he's up to now, right? And boy fucking howdy, are we all sick of that shit. Hey, it's the NBA. Oh, wait, it's not the NBA. It's the NBA media talking about other media members and how they're relating to the play, and it's fucked. I'd rather talk about these games. Let's do it. The game wraps. Game wraps, game wraps, game wraps, game wraps. Hey, these are the games that matter from the weekend. Cleveland, Detroit. Detroit beat the Cavs without Cade Cunningham. That's right. Cleveland! Go down to the Detroit Pistons because Tim Hardaway, the lesser, was absolutely awesome. Massive win for the Pistons. Absolutely gnarly gear. The Bucks got beaten by the Knicks as well on Saturday. 116-107. Crazy game there. Phoenix got trounced by the Wolves. 124-109. And if you were paying attention last week, ESPN is now on Disney+. This is not a paid ad. ESPN, if you want me to like spruik it, I'll take some of that money. But I'll tell you what, it's a really nice integration into the app. That's all I'm going to say until they pay me. Hey, I'm just saying I don't give out free ads unless you're a mate. Suns have gone absolutely MIA. They got killed in that one. And then Sunday we had Dallas beat Chicago. A really big game for the Mavs because they're now 4-0 with Anthony Davis. 121-19. Josh Giddey had a bit of a stinker. He was due after his incredible game on Friday. The Lakers. Ja came back for the game against the Lakers in Memphis. And the Grizzlies just weren't very good. And their defense was bad. And they have a new coach. Don't think that was Taylor Jenkins' fault. Just saying. 134-127. Indy got smoked by OKC as well. And then today, we had a really, really fun game that I was watching with the Squids before I took him to school this morning. The Clippers-Cleveland game. Cleveland got a really good win to the point where old mate was sort of like, buzzing around. It's like, wait, how are Cleveland this good? I'm like, well, they've kind of just got a really good team. Evan Mobley's like a young KG. She knows Go the Fro Jared Allen from our time in Brooklyn. And with the season tickets towards the end of our, when we lived in the States, it was like he and Karis LeVert were like favorites. It was awesome. I think you can barely tell. Anyway, but then I'm like, Donnie Mitchell, she's like, yeah, I know Donovan Mitchell. And Darius Garland, he was a really high draft pick, awesome point guard. She's like, all right, cool. And I'm like, but also DeAndre Hanna and Ty Jerome. And Max Strus is out there wearing a sick hairband and he's got his long hair today. They're just good. Cleveland are just good. Cleveland! Talk about them in a second. It was a good win over the Clippers. Detroit, Minnesota, as pointed out, the Wolves got outscored. The Wolves outscored the Pistons 94-65 after the brawl. The Pistons were up 10 when all that shit popped off. So that probably cost them the game, right? At the same time, you lose that one game, but do you win the war? Because you've got the bad boys back. Maybe. And then the other big one. At the end of today's games, Houston kicked the all-time shit out of Phoenix. It was a disaster for the Suns. They lose Kevin Durant to a rolled ankle. They get absolutely killed. They got straight killed.
So he got straight killed.
148-109. Absolute embarrassment for the Suns. And the Rockets absolutely run away with it. So there you go. Let's do some winners and losers from the weekend after all of that.
Oh my God. I won! I won! Recapping our day's top story, the winner of today's state lottery is
me. Cam Brockman. There we go. You got a shot of me. There we go. Detroit. But Jim, they got into a fight and lost against Minnesota. You just said they got outscored 94-65. Yes, I did. But they beat Cleveland. That's right, Cleveland. Without Cade, which was insane. And almost did it twice. They were leading Minnesota. They were so much fun until that brawl popped off. I think I tweeted about it. I'm like, that first quarter was fucking sick. Literally a couple of minutes into the second quarter, it all goes fucking sideways. And you're like, well, at least they got a couple of licks in, I guess. And that was just another classic current day NBA brawl as well. No actual punches thrown. Just a fucking big scrum of dudes and assistant coaches trying to separate everybody and everyone sort of falling over and shit. No actual punches. So it's all well and good. But it is also Ron Holland going, I will fucking fight every single one of your dudes, Minnesota, which I love. And you know, beef stew will have a crack. So Detroit, look, more than anything, they're forcing you to take them seriously. And like beating Cleveland without Cade was absolutely gnarly. And then they were putting one on Minnesota until it all went a bit fucky. You get that with young teams. They were feeling themselves a little bit maybe. But wow, good weekend for Detroit. Dallas! Huge win over the red hot Chicago on Sunday. Move them, and this is why they're big winners. They're up in the 9th because of one of our, two of our losers, in fact, on the weekend winners and losers. But most importantly, as I said, they're 4-0 now with Anthony Davis. And you know what will make the sting of the Luka trade just hurt like 1% less? So just pretend like you've walked on the sun and that's the pain you're feeling. 1% less of that is if Anthony Davis stays healthy and you make the play-ins and you don't fucking stink, right? Because it means you've got like a dude, and when Kyrie comes back, you got two dudes, but they're still old and you fucked it completely, and Nico Harrison's an idiot. So, but because the Suns stink, the Mavs are now like pretty much, I don't want to say safe, but they're feeling pretty good about themselves in terms of the play-in situation, right? Because they are currently 2 games up on the Suns, right? Just 2 full games up in the 9 spot from 11. And they are a half game up on the Sacramento Kings, who we're going to pop up in a second. But good stuff by the Mavs. How about we can just throw all 3 of these in together? OKC and Boston and Cleveland. That's right.
Cleveland!
They all just sort of keep dominating. The Cleveland loss on the weekend was a bit weird. But more than anything else, with Cleveland's win today, they have won 60 games for the first time without LeBron James. How good is that? It's like, we're a real boy. I'm a real franchise. Hooray! Not all just fucking the LeBron James Cavaliers. But that's pretty cool. They are, like, OKC and Boston are on 9 and 8 game winning streaks respectively, which is just the way that like OKC just dismissed Indy was wild. And Boston fucking straight up, they killed was it San Antonio the other day, and it's just like, oh, yep, that's not close. Got him, yes. Yeah, 121-11. It was never really like a bit of a problem for Boston. They just put one on them and just cruised to it, right? So anyway, Tatum had 29. They're all flying, all 3 of them. The thing is, like all 3 of them feel like they are gettable. You know what I'm saying? Philly are weekend winners, but Jim, they're horrible and they keep getting their ass kicked. Yes, that's exactly what they should be doing right now. The Philadelphia 1, 2, 3, 4 top 6s. That's right. They need to finish in the top 6, or the bottom top 6, don't they? To keep that pick. And if they keep sliding down, i.e. moving up in the draft odds, the odds improve that they fucking keep that pick because it makes it less likely they get jumped twice to knock them down to the 7 pick. So they lose to the Raptors today. They get fucking killed. 127-109. They're now 5 wins behind Toronto with 7 games left to play. Basically, it sets the Sixers' floor as the 6th worst team going into the lottery. That's their floor now, right? And with New Orleans winning today, almost despite themselves against like a Charlotte team that was playing Miles Bridges and no one else, the Sixers are only 2 games back of like having the 4th best odds now. Because New Orleans, they just have like some dudes who are not bad, which is like ironically kind of fun. But outside of this, you look at the actual Tankathon rankings and you're like, hang on, this is getting super spicy because you got Utah, Washington, Charlotte, and New Orleans as your top 4, bottom 4. Then Philly has snuck ahead of Brooklyn because Brooklyn won a game the other day, and it's just like they've also got dudes who are trying. So Brooklyn are currently in 6, and the jostling amongst those teams is going to get really crazy. So Charlotte's already got 56 losses. Philly's got 52. I'm not sure if they can get up to 3rd, but with the New Orleans Pelicans, 54 losses and Philly 52, that's eminently gettable, I feel like. And Brooklyn, if they look, they've gone 2-8 in their last 10. They're doing the worst job of the tanking at the moment. They and Charlotte, I think. And then the Pelicans have gone 4-6 in the last 10. So it's just like those 3 teams, like, what are you doing? Stop winning. And it's almost despite themselves. Someone's got to play like Utah or Washington, right? And it's going to get really, really, really super tasty and weird. And I'm going to keep a track of this Tankathon rankings the rest of the way out. But yeah, Philly, that's a huge jump up. The double loss to the Raptors, putting a bit of space between them, staying in at least the 6th spot, hopefully moving further up, and away they go. because they're currently in the 5, right? So yeah, it makes it really, really hard for them to like fall to 7. They basically can't do it. Big winners. Minnesota, another big one. Huge comeback win over Detroit. And as mentioned earlier, like they had, I don't know, they've had just like a nice, weird little run where if you try to make like any sense of what the Wolves are doing kind of game to game, you're shit out of luck. It is absolute chaos watching this Wolves team. But then they kick the shit out of Phoenix and then beat Detroit. And they're looking pretty good again. And that's cool. Go Wolves. Like, they probably shouldn't have won today. But wow, they end up winning by almost 20. They're 43-32, and they're giving themselves the absolute best chance at sneaking into that 6th spot. As the aforementioned, and about to be mentioned again, Memphis Grizzlies are reeling. They're only a half game back of the Warriors out of the 6. The Wolves are coming. And then honorable mention, finally, winning. The weekend winners are winning. That's right. The NBA has 2 60-win teams for the first time since 16-17. 60-win teams. So you got Cleveland and OKC already. Back then it was the Warriors and Spurs. So that was the big 4 glom on KD cheating Warriors and Kawhi's last sort of Spurs run. 2015 and 14 also had 2. If the Celtics go 5-3 to finish off the year, they'll go above 60 as well, which is crazy. It'll be the first 3 60-win seasons since 2009, which would be pretty nuts, which was like the KG, Ray, Paul Pierce Celtics, Kobe and Powell Lakers, and the LeBron Cavs, who won 66. So pretty crazy. How good is that? These are some record numbers we're seeing. And it's kind of weird because you got 3 dominant teams at the top and like 4 horrible fucking teams at the bottom, and then everybody else is in the creamy middle. Right, let's do some weekend losers then.
We're not losers. No, you two are winners. Big winners. When I grow up, I want to marry a big winner like you guys. Shut up.
Losers.
Loser.
Losers. Weekend losers. God, the Grizzlies. Taylor Jenkins, I think, might have been a lot of things, but he was not a loser. That dude won a fuck ton of games despite the hand that he was continuously dealt between injuries, suspensions, fucking absolutely everything in between. All they did was win, 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 apart from last year when they sort of tanked half and just sort of gave up. But, I mean, you think about Triple J, always injury prone. Ja Morant, injury prone and gun happy. Pew, 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 pew. And then, like, even Desmond Bain, he's had a fucking horrible year, but they've brought along, right? Remember, like, was it last year, year before, whatever? They had like the most amount of lineups in NBA history played. And I feel like he's done a great job. The old phrase, turning chicken shit into chicken salad. That's what he does. He's a really fucking good coach, I think. And like that loss versus the Lakers was tough, but it's also because really the Grizzlies are weekend losers because they fired their coach and they're already in 5th in the West. They're only 2 games up out of 7th. So that's a play-in spot, don't forget. And they have 5 really, really, really tough games remaining on their schedule. They've played 74 games, so they've got, 8 left? 5 really tough ones. They played Boston this week. They've got Denver, Golden State, Detroit, and Minnesota remaining on that schedule. So there's 2 massive double win games in there as well when it comes to this 5, 6, 7 seeding. Because obviously, as I said, they play Golden State and Minnesota. So there's 2 massive ones in there. They play Golden State this Wednesday, which is crazy. And then the following Friday, they play Minnesota. So their entire season almost hinges on those 2 games. And you've got an interim coach now. Ja Morant is back, but we've seen them fucking have these moments where they play awesomely without Ja. And then Ja comes back and they have like these weird moments like, whoa, no one knows what the fuck we're doing. What we're doing. And here we are. So, yeah, it feels like they're big weekend losers. I feel like Taylor Jenkins, yes, some of the strategic stuff that they were doing time and time again left a lot to be desired, but it was still it felt like for most of this season, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole kind of thing, right? And I don't know if it was Taylor Jenkins' fault. Milwaukee! It's Algonquin, not for the good land anymore. They are in free fall without Dame Lillard. They've lost 4 straight. They're basically almost getting to the point where they're now in the 6th seed, and that's it, right? The Hawks are probably not going to catch them. They're 4 games back of them. They are 1.5 games behind the Detroit basketball Pistons. And I don't know. doesn't it feel like this is a bit of a big moment for the Bucks? Like this year with Dame, it was meant to be different. The defense has been shit house. They're only giving up 112.8 points per game with Giannis and Brook Lopez, etc. They're only scoring 114. But it's going to be big questions, I think, about this team and the direction of this team this offseason, right? If they get the Knicks in the first round as the 3-6, that is going to be chaos. But I do not like their chances without Dame Lillard, right? Kuzma, I don't think he's that dude. I'm just saying. And the biggest thing is, like, the chickens are coming home to roost, right? It's their lack of young developing talent. They're shitting the bed time after time at drafting. That basically means they're going to have some big questions, which I'm going to talk about later in Outback Takehouse, around a couple of their big names. But the Bucks, cooked. The Kings are also weekend losers. They're down in 10th. They have actually lost. They've won less games than the Bulls have since the Zach LaVine trade, which is pretty crazy. The Kings are 9-11. The Bulls are 11-9 since the trade on February 10. And of course, the Bulls are one of the hottest teams in the NBA over the last, basically the month. So, yeah, not great for the Kings. The 10 seed would be a massive kick in the dick, but as long as they make the play-in, I kind of feel like they'll be happy. It's like, we moved on for Darren Fox. It's like, what'd you get for him? Nothing. He's like, all right, good job. And then we've got Phoenix. What an absolute, you want kicks in the dick. KD sprains his ankle, goes over on a pretty hardcore left ankle today. That might be the Suns' season straight kill.
So he got straight killed.
Pack her up, boys. I reckon you are Dunskies. And then finally, like a bit of an honorable mention, bit of a weird one. Like the Nets keep on randomly just, I don't know, they can't tank properly. It's very frustrating. It's very weird. And you have these moments where you go, oh, well, they need to keep tanking harder than the Sixers. Like sometimes it's just impossible. Someone has to play. They beat Washington the other day, and you're like, that is the classic loss of a win. What are you doing? They tried so hard to lose it, and so yeah, they're weekend losers despite winning. It was weird. Hey, who was the NBA Australia Pro Performer of the weekend?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Honorable mention is going to go to Rudy Gobert as the Stafford Tower after the Pistons lost all their dudes. Ended up with 19 points and 25 rebounds with a block as well. Not bad. But Hardaway the Lesser absolutely tore up the Cavs. Oh, geez, 7 of 11 from downtown. He had 32 points. He was absolutely fantastic. And today, we're going to give a bit of love to our man Zachary Rissache. 36 points for the most underrated, least talked about number one pick since Michael Olowokandi. Or maybe, I don't know, Anthony Bennett. Well, that's what we're sort of talking about. 36 points. He went 12 of 21 from the floor, hit 5 threes. He was awesome. He's only the 10th teenager in NBA history to have 36 or more in an NBA game, which is just bloody chaotic. Again, crazy weekend. We had some really, really absurd stat lines as per usual, but Danny Avdija, I love him. God, he's good. He's just such an absolute weapon. He had 33, 7 and 4 against the Knicks today as a lone hand, essentially. But otherwise, SGA had 33 against the Pacers. Austin Reeves got, to 31, 7 and 8 in that win over the Grizz. Some pretty good ones in there. And I'm going to talk about Buzelis in a second. Who was Spud of the night, though?
Spud. Spud it is Spud. Spud of the night.
Podemski also gets a bit of a look in with the 7 made threes the other day. Spuds, we had 0 of 7 for Isaiah Collier, but we don't really crap on rookies here, do we? No, Jim, we don't. Because we're nice. Outside of that, though, we had 0 for 6 for Delano Banton today. Brutal. 1 of 9 for our man Colin Gillespie, the White Mamba. Bruce Brown goes 1 of 8, as well as Simone Vondeggio. 1 of 10 for Jalen Wilson. Jesus. 1 of 8 for Bruce Brown. Spuds everywhere, as far as the eye can see. 2 of 14 for Nick Smith Jr. the other day. 3 of 12 for our man Gids. I mentioned that in the game against Dallas. 4 of 20 for Miles Bridges. 420, Miles Bridges. Bang. What was that on Saturday? And then we actually had a couple of... we had KJ Simpson go 3 of 12 as well. Plenty of spuds floating around. Dennis Schroeder, I am German Rondo, went 3 of 12. And Anthony Penny Simons goes 5 of 20. But I would very much like to thank our good friend Slow Mo Kyle Anderson and the rookie Stefan Castle, as well as Sam Rutger Hauser from downtown. They all shot. Oh, yeah. Chill. Woo! Yeah, they shot 311, UBUT. I'll tell you what. Oh, jeez. I'm losing my voice. That's what I tell you. After having Nick on the Nick from 311 on the show a week and a half ago, they've since gone on the 311 cruise, and if you're just seeing the photos pop up on like Instagram and stuff, I've never been more jealous. That would be absolutely gnarly. Just a 311 cruise. Fuck yeah. Who was old mate no mates?
Old mate no mates.
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 Who's got no mates today? Bill Kennedy was out there announcing that Dylan Brooks got kicked out of that Suns game today as well. And he forgot who he was kicking out. He's like, who is that? It's 2 tech fouls on... Wait, who? Oh, yeah, Dylan Brooks. Such a weird pantsing by Bill Kennedy. Beef Stew and Ron Holland trying to take on the entirety of that Minnesota Timberwolves team. That's a bit of an old mate, no mates. It's like, come on, we can fight all of you. We are not afraid of any single one of you Minnesota Timberwolves. And then at the end of that game, Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, mocking Malik Beasley's shimmy. That's a bit of a... I mean, it's combination Dickhead of the Week award, but also... That's a bit of an old mate, no mates, kind of a bit of a pantsing as well. So that leans into the pantsing. Like Ant-Man going, I'm doing the Malik Beasley thing. Yeah, it's a bit of a pantsing, but it's a bit old mate, no mates. It's like, oh, geez, do you guys not like Malik Beasley? Sure. But what the Rockets did to the Suns, I'm pretty sure is actually illegal in Arizona. Like today, they were getting booed on their own floor, the Suns. They had Booker, they had Durant until he hurts his ankle right at the end of that game. Got booed on your own floor. You're in the 11 seed. That is just... And Houston absolutely fucking reveled in kicking the shit out of that Suns team. It was an absolute pantsing. And the saddest thing in the NBA, I don't know how many times, like if you've been to games, when a team is getting their absolute ass kicked, and it's like everyone's sort of hanging out, and so like, oh, jeez. Who wants a t-shirt? And everyone's like, fuck, me, I guess. They all sort of stand up half-heartedly, this crowd watching their beloved team just get their head bashed in. They're like, who wants a t-shirt? It's like, fuck off. I do not at all envy the in-game entertainment crew that has to like keep going with that sort of shit when like your team is getting beat by 40. It's not great. Anyway, better than Bronny James.
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. I was saying Boo Zealous. Matthias Boozelis, he was fantastic against Dallas despite the loss. 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. He was absolutely unreal. But also, how about Timmy? Drew Timmy. 19, 6, and 3 today for the Nets, and 11 and 10 in his first 2 games. He's crushing it. I don't know if you know the Drew Timmy story, but he played about he's older than I am, basically. He's out there playing in Gonzaga. You can't call him Gonzaga because fucking coaches will tear your head off. Gonzaga. Played there for 87 years, I'm pretty sure. All dates approximate. But and like got the call-up from the Long Island Nets and is fucking crushing it for a Nets team that's completely given up the ghost, but still beats the teams like the Wizards. Amazing. What about, though? Oh, it's Monday. We better do a quick, everyone's favorite Magic tweet of the weekend. I want to thank MSU coach Izzo and especially all of the players for an exciting and entertaining season. It's disappointing the tournament run has come to an end with this loss to a strong Auburn team, but this season is one that all Spartans fans should be proud of. I can't wait till next season. Hashtag go green, go white at MSU basketball. Thanks, Magic. But the best one is, wow. Mookie Betts just hit a walk-off 3-run home run to win the game in the bottom of the 10th inning. His second HR of the game. Man, this at Dodgers team is special. Stars for eyes emoji. Thanks, Magic. That's a dude who loves his baseball. All right, finally, dickhead of the weekend.
Dickhead of the week.
Yeah, I don't know, that Ant-Man like mocking Malik Beasley, giving him the shimmy. It's a bit fucking weird. Also, like Bill Kennedy, you sort of go, Dylan Brooks, I love that. It's such a fucking great troll move for an all-time troll. Like Dylan Brooks is a wild troll, and Bill Kennedy's like, who did we kick out? Oh yeah, it's Dylan fucking Brooks, that idiot. That was amazing. I love that. That's some good dickheading. The other one was, why mock Malik Beasley? Like, it's so fucking weird. Settle down, Ant-Man. Just settle down. All right, let's do some yeah-nahs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're
Australia.
listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, let's do some yeah-nahs. Let's do it. Matty O. 5 years, 200 mil for Giddy. Yeah-nah. So, this is the question we sort of posed on Friday's show. Did he add like many millions of dollars to his contract literally with the last 12 seconds of that game against the Lakers? Yeah, nah. Yeah, I kind of think he did. I think the floor of his contract now is that Emmanuel Quickley 5 years, 162 mil, right? Which is around 32.5 mil per year, whatever. Before that, it was probably around the DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell. Well, Devin Vassell's like at 24, 25, 26, 27. 5 years, 135 mil. That would have been his floor, I reckon, until this run. The run, I think, now has him above the Emmanuel Quickley line and much more into the Desmond Bane contract level, right? Which is Desmond Bane signs the 5 year, 197 million, which is for this year, 34 mil. Next year, 36. Year after, 39, 42, 44. And I think that's about where you land because like the next levels, you sort of get to like LaMelo Ball, the OG Anunoby one, which was what, 5 years, 164. Or 4 years, it was like in a weird extension, wasn't it? So 164 mil for OG, where it's 36, 39, 42, 45, 48. I feel like 5 years, 200 mil for Gids is like eminently doable for this Bulls team. Where if you look at their sort of cap situation, it's pretty easy, right? They sort of look ahead and you go, well, who are they going to spend their money on? They got rid of Levine. They got rid of DeRozan. If you sort of think about what they can and can't do over the next few years and who they should be building around, is Buzelis, Giddey, and Kobe White. And that's kind of where they're at. They've got fuck all really on the books for like even 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8. They've got the Lonzo contract, the really cheap one that only is like 10 mil a year, right? The extension. You got Vooch, who goes into his last year of his contract next year. You've got the stupid Patch Williams contract, which is 18 million a year, and it's still fucking absurd. Huerter on 17 for next year. Zach Collins, 18, expiring contract. Kobe White expiring on a 12. They've got plenty of cap space, so let's go. 5 years, 200 mil. Let's do it, Josh Giddey. Hey, Jim, are the Warriors the most dangerous floater? Not only in the West, but in the entire NBA playoffs. Yeah, nah. Well, yeah. This is the thing we sort of hit on with our power rankings the other day, right? You sort of look at the sort of outside the top three of Cleveland, Boston, and OKC. Houston still feel like they got some big question marks. Actually, and there's another contract as well, like the Fred VanVleet contract, if you remember that one, where it's like 42, 44 mil a year, and that was like the 3 year sort of one. Pretty crazy. Anyway, Gids should be around that. I think he's a much more valuable player than Fred VanVleet. Anyway, the Warriors, Nuggets, Lakers, I'm still probably more worried, depending on the matchup, about the Nuggets, because they have the best player in the world. But with the Warriors, you can definitely see them if the matchups all fall completely fucking right for them. And if they like land the 5 or the 6 seed and they get like a half decent matchup in that first round, whether it be like Warriors Lakers first round will be hilarious. So I don't know. I feel still like Denver being the most dangerous floater just because they have the best player in the world playing for them. Just on a series by series basis would probably terrify me, right? Like the Nuggets would go into any series, I think, in the West going, we can win. The Warriors probably would as well, but also knowing that like, oh, fuck, man. We've got Jimmy Butler, we've got Steph, we've got Draymond, we've got Cumbucket. It's just, oh, do we have enough? Whereas the Nuggets, like, they're a veteran team. And in the East, it's kind of like, the Knicks, nah, can't say it. The Bucks, they're cooked. So yeah, I'd probably say the Nuggets, Lakers, then the Warriors. Was how I'd rate my floaters. And finally, should the Grizzlies have fired Taylor Jenkins? You know how I feel about this? Yeah, nah. No, I don't think so. I feel like you're still basically trying to, again, you had this season to look, and obviously I clearly don't know the inner workings of the fucking Memphis front office. And yes, the lapses over the second half of this season have just been pretty fucking shit, right? And if you're tracking the NBA daily like I am, whether it be betting with, you know, all the stuff, Memphis are crazy. Like, they're so volatile. It's just fucking nuts game in, game out. But if you look at the overall fucking arc of his career and, like, the work that they've done, this is the exact sort of dumb shit the bad teams do, the bad franchises do. I look at someone like Michael Malone up there in Denver, where there's fucking calls for his head time after time after time after time by the fans, by media. And the Nuggets went, nah, fuck it. Who's better for this team? Right? And they sort of stuck with it, and it worked. He sort of got the mix right. They got the right role players in. They gave him the right ingredients, and he cooked a fucking beautiful souffle. And they won the title. And that's sort of like my unpopular opinion of the day, I guess. Kind of. Yeah?
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me. Look at me. I think it's okay to stick with a coach if they're fucking good. And like Taylor Jenkins comes from like that buds pop tree. Like, I think if you want to work with him in trying to get that team in the right direction, I feel like you've seen plenty of fucking evidence that he's a really good coach. And I find it really hard to get past the simple idea of like, oh, well, you know, we've got these defensive lapses. And if like you've tuned out a coach, sometimes you can bounce back from that, I think. And I don't feel like this Grizzlies team had actually tuned him out. The amount of fucking churn on the roster would almost make it impossible to tune him out, right? He's got the best out of like these completely unfucking known, like second thought rookies and young dudes like Scottie Pippen Jr., Jalen. Which Jalen have they got? They've got like one of the Jalens, one of the rookie of the year fucking dudes. Jalen, I want to say, I mean, even think about like, who was it? Jalen Wells. That's who they had. Jalen Clark was the one who got injured on the Grizzlies. But you've got Scottie Pippen Jr., you got Vince Williams, who's been fantastic at times. Cam Spencer out there talking shit to LeBron, to KD. It was awesome. GG Jackson, like, development success story. He's not like, you know, he's been dealing with injuries all year, but Jaren Jackson Jr. has developed into one of the best big men in the NBA. Like, and you're sort of like, oh, well, we don't want to play him at center. Well, we've got Zach Edey. It's like, all right, cool. But I think, again, with what he's been given, I think he's done a fucking great job. And I feel like he's the sort of dude where you look at it and go, if we give him the right ingredients, he's going to cook something special. I don't know. That's what it just sort of struck me as. Anyway, bit of Outback Takehouse. What do you reckon? It's Monday at Outback, and you know what that means? Oh, yeah, bloody Kookaburra wings. That's right. We've just walked down to bloody daycare and school with a couple of cricket bats and golf clubs each, and bang! You hear the all bang! Beautiful, delicious kookaburra wings, and they're only at Outback. They're definitely not just chicken wings that we've made and called kookaburras. Definitely not. But they're only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is the Milwaukee Bucks will look at what's happened to the Phoenix Suns and go, fuck it, and trade Giannis Antetokounmpo this offseason. Only at Outback. I think it's actually going to happen. I don't even think that's a wildly flame grilled take. I think we'll see the Suns trade Kevin Durant. I think we'll see the Bucks trade Giannis. What do you reckon? Let us know. All right, quick break. Australian Player Watch right after Hammer.
This is Shane Heel, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, what a weekend for the Aussies. Josh Giddey, as mentioned, bit of a rough one against Dallas. But you get that on the big jobs after you have the best game ever with his 25-14-11 against the Lakers on Friday. God, that game was awesome. He had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks in the loss to Dallas. Shot 3 of 12 in 27 minutes. He had 4 turnovers, just a bit of a rough one. 0-3 from downtown. And he had been absolutely knocking in threes until that game. So, look, you get that on the big jobs, don't you? Outside of that, Ben Simmons, Box Hill Benny, went off for 0-3-3 against his old team, the Nets. You can tell he was fired up for that one. 0-3 from the floor. You know he hasn't taken a free throw in his last 10 games. Jesus. And in a loss to Cleveland today, he had 4, 6, and 5. So 4.6 rebounds, 5 assists. 2 or 3 from the floor. But yeah, again, 0 free throws. Patty Mills against Brooklyn. I love this. Patty led the run from the Old Mates pub there over to the pier. Nice little 5K. Got everybody fired up. And then fucking fired up off the bench and lit them up. Lit up Brooklyn. 14 points in 7 minutes. Absolute chaos. 5 of 5 from the free throw line, but 3 of 4, all from 3. Goes bang. And we're about to talk about it again in a second in the Shane Hill Shoot Your Shot, Light 'em Up award. Amazing gear. Patty goes bang. Dyson Daniels in the win over Milwaukee today was absolutely unreal. And if you're following us on Dabble, you would have seen we had the extra special Dyson Daniels, the vacuum multi in there. He didn't get a block, or else we would have been absolutely flying. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 more steals. Shooting 10 of 15 from the floor, 2 of 2 at the line, 0 of 3 from downtown. But that's 213 steals for this season. That's a new Atlanta Hawks franchise record. And he has 14 games this year with 5+ steals. You are taking the piss if he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year. Josh Scott Green lost to Toronto for the Hornets the other day. 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal. Shot 2 of 7, 0 of 3 from downtown though. And then sat out the loss today against the Pelicans with a shoulder injury. So hopefully he's all right. And they're just resting him because they want to keep tanking. That's what I assume is happening. Johnny Fefe! That's right. Oh, Johnny Tins played 6 minutes in that big loss to OKC. He had 2 rebounds and 1 block. Just good to see him out there playing a bit of defense. Jingles copped a did not play coach's decision today. Rock'em, sock'em, block'em, jock'em, Landale up against one of his old teams. Phoenix today. Big win over Phoenix. So he got a nice bit of run, which is always good to see. I just like Jock out there up against Mason Plumlee was very fun. 11 points. 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals. Shot 5 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 2 from downtown, 0 of 1 from the free throw line in 16 minutes, which is really good. Everybody in Houston basically got a run in that game. But obviously still with Jack McVay, the Unabomber down in the G League, he didn't get a run either. But he has been lighting it up in the G League. He had, 33 points last week. He's had a couple of rough ones lately, but still, not bad. Dante Exum still out with his busted hand. Luke Travers, speaking of which, he had a triple-double down the G League on the weekend. That was pretty good. Do-up Reef, do-up, bop, do-up. Do-up Reef, the Great Barrier Reef, 4-1 against the New York City Knickerbockers. 2 or 3 from the floor, 1 turnover. I don't know, played some handy minutes. And Aussie Matty T in that same game, 1 rebound, 0 of 2 from the floor. Alex Dukas hasn't gotten out there for a little bit too. And Taron Armstrong keeps carving it up in the G League as well. Which is really awesome to see. So it'd be nice to see if the Warriors, I don't know, they're fighting tooth and nail for a bloody playoff spot, but Taron Armstrong had 11, 9, and 9, which is awesome the other day, following a 10, 4, and 10, and a 15, 6, and 9. He is absolutely built for this. Let's go, Taron. And there you go. That's Australian Player Watch for Monday, March 31. Good stuff. We might do a quick whip around tomorrow about all the Aussies as well. And I've got another concept that I'll do later on this week too. But let's do a Shane Hill shoot your shot, light 'em up award.
Are you healed? Are you healed? Praise the Lord, I'm healed.
Praise the Lord, for I'm healed. It is the Shane Hill
Shooters shoot.
Shoot Your Shot, Light 'em Up Award.
All right, Patty Mills. I mentioned this at the start. Second most threes in NBA history off the bench, going past Jam and Jamal Crawford. He passed Lou Williams a little while ago too, which is pretty cool. But the list is amazing for most threes off the bench. The leader in the clubhouse is Kyle Korver with 1,385 threes off the bench, ahead of Patty, who's got 1,260. Crawford, 1,259. Lou Williams, 1,235. And Del Curry, who obviously held the record for a long time, was 1,093 ahead of Jet Terry, 1,038. J.R. Smith is the other one over 1,000. Fascinating. Chaos gear too. Like that, just sort of like absolute dedicated bench gunner. Like there's still a few of them floating around. And it'd be interesting to see if, who sort of sticks around in that role. Like Grayson Allen. Like how many starts does he get versus coming off the bench? Stuff like that. But either way. Patty Mills. That's incredible. 1,260 made threes off the bench. That is a Shane Hill shoot your shot. Light 'em up award. Right there. All right, where's the Patty Mills Game Day Baller Game Day Twitter check-in? This one's pretty easy because it's just Patty's fucking wildly inspiring Old Mates Pub Run Club, which was absolutely unreal. So let's find Baller Pat. There he is. He actually celebrated the second most threes off the bench in NBA history as well with the Clippers. That's nice. There's a nice highlighter as well. G'day, mate. Patty Mills for 3. That's a beautiful one over in the corner there in Brooklyn. And his old stomping ground. And then you've got his missus doing a bit of NBA husband trivia. Talking about how many teams has he played for? When was he drafted? And yeah, that's pretty good. Alyssa going absolutely hamming, doing a great job. And there's the Patty Mills Run Club. Very, very cool. Righto, let's do some game previews, shall we? Game previews! Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How's the weekend? Very fucking quiet because I couldn't walk. Jeez. Old mate took the squids to the NGV, which is pretty good. To go see the new Josh Giddey photo. No. Anyway, remember, you can find all of our NBA daily picks, the daily picks that we do. Every single pick that we do on this show goes into this one over at Dabble. So if you jump on, sign up using the link in the show description or on the socials, etc. Use the code NBA Straya, jump in there. They're awesome. I love Dabble. So we've got our daily best multis, which is usually the vibes multi of every single game that I love the most, all multied up, or a same game up, which is the Dyson Daniels one today that came just so effing close. God, that was brutal. And if that's your thing, then go check it out. NBA Straya. Use that code NBA Straya at Dabble. Sign up using the show link, or the link in the show description and on the socials. Help your mate Jim out if that's your thing. If not, I don't know. It's all good, bro. Right. Let's do it. Got some fun, weird games tomorrow. Utah at Charlotte. Ugh. These tank games are absolutely brutal to predict. So, Utah? Maybe Charlotte on a back-to-back 1.5 point underdogs. I think Charlotte just might have a crack and win this one despite themselves. So let's go the Hornets. Clippers Orlando. This is a much better game. Clippers on a road back-to-back, having played Cleveland today, obviously. A little bit of an earlier game, but they go to a Magic team that just still feels super duper wonky, right? But has also given us a little bit of something in the last week or two. They smashed the Kings the other day, which they smashed them by 30. It was one of my best picks on Saturday. They did lose to the Mavs before that. I feel like the defense of the Magic might put up a bit of a fight against this Clippers team. And I could see the Magic actually winning this on a road back-to-back for the Clips, where they probably don't play Kawhi. I'm taking Orlando plus 2.5 at home. Big Paolo game. It'd be a very, very, very interesting game, that one. Sacramento Indy. Oh, Oh, the Tyrese Halliburton Bowl. Domantas Sabonis. Oh, geez. India 5.5-point favorites at home against the Kings. I'm taking that in a heartbeat. Despite Indy getting their just shit pushed in the other day by OKC, I think Indy will absolutely do the exact same thing to Sacramento. Or just like they have some of these games, especially on the road, where they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Go Indy. Then we've got Miami at Washington. Washington, look, they're just bad. We're going to have to go Miami. 8.5 or 8-point favorites away. I think they should do that pretty easily. Boston in Memphis. Fascinating game as well. I just don't think the Grizzlies, like, they've got Jar back. You get that. I just don't know if they've got enough, especially on the perimeter, to keep up with Boston, who did a great job the other day against San Antonio, as I mentioned earlier. Let's go the Celtics. Chicago, plus 15 in OKC. I love that. We're going to go the Bulls. Tough one in Dallas, or against Dallas the other day. I think they put up a bit of a fight against OKC. Keep it within 15. Bit of a giddy revenge game. That'd be great. Let's go Gids in the Bulls. Plus 15 in Dallas. In OKC. Brooklyn, go to Dallas. Bit of a rough one for the Nets. I'll tell ya, the Mavs are good-ish. I think they win this, but I think Brooklyn keep it vaguely close. So we'll take the plus 11.5 for Brooklyn. And then Houston on a back-to-back, having absolutely obliterated the Suns today. Take on the Lakers. How good is that game? The answer is really bloody good. I'm going to take Houston plus 5.5 in the minute. I think they can at least sick some of those defensive terrors onto the Lakers guys. LeBron James, might have heard of him. Luka Doncic, etc. But the Rockets, it's going to be a good game. I like the Rockets a lot. And remember, go follow all those picks over at Double, as well as some fun, weird extra ones that we throw in there for some same-game multis, etc. every single day. So if that's your thing, go check out Dabble. Use that code NBA Straya. Sign up using the link in the show description. It's on the YouTube. It's in your podcast app, whatever. It's just down the bottom. Use that sign-up code. Tell them Jim sent you. Use that code NBA Straya. Help keep this pirate ship afloat. And that is it for today. Big weekend. But yeah, we're sort of hitting like the last week and a bit of the NBA season, which always makes me a bit sad, but not this year because some of these teams are fucking shit. Like in years past, you've had like these awesome, like crummy teams in the tankathon race. This year, these teams are fucking deplorable. It's like a race to the bottom. It's crazy. And it's been going on for ages. So, the other song going. It's been going on for ages, so fuck that. Either way, we're back on deck tomorrow. Make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, and YouTube. Jump in the comments. Just that's all I ask. I mean, come on. We've been mates for a while now, haven't we? Been doing this a while. Just jump in the comments, ask some questions, get the comments going, especially on YouTube and shit. And if you've reviewed if you haven't reviewed the show yet, you're taking the piss. On your podcast app, your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, YouTube, whatever app you use on your Android phone. Jump in there, rate, review, subscribe. Grab your mate's phone, subscribe to it on that phone as well. Just go absolutely nuts. That's all I ask. Come on. Help a brother out. Big thanks always to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. Check out House Hats, Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinated, Goldmine, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Sexual, Green, and Dozers. They're buying all the tunes you hear on the show. Wearing my Pennywise t-shirt today, if you're seeing that on the YouTube. It's the first time I've worn this as well. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's a good t-shirt. I was pretty shit-faced when I bought it. Speaking of which, I'm going to go to Dan Kelly at Shot Kickers this Friday. It's going to be awesome. So if you're into Dan Kelly, I'll see you there. Either way, smash all those bands on Apple Music, Spotify, NBA Straya Sports Train Band, so should you. And get around us, as I mentioned, on Dabble. Code NBA Straya. Give us a follow. Check it out. Sign up using the link in the show description, and off we go. Let's do a quick daily review at the end of this one. Why the fuck not? All right, we'll catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And later, hoser! Oi, how the fuck are you? Just your mate Deli over here, just swinging by for my latest pop culture review and shit, eh? And I've got to tell ya, it's been a rough fucking week. We lost the fucking NBA title, smashed a million tins. I'm still fucking sad. I gave my MVP to Davo. NBL's like, nah, you still win it, Deli. And I'm like, fucking jeez, alright. I guess I'm the fucking finals MVP. I'm a losing team. Call me the Jerry West of Australia. Nah, but look, it's all good. We sort of settled down with the boys after everything. Like, it's all good. Couple of tins, few Corona tinnies. Just Went out to mum and dad's, went for a swim in the dam, all the good shit up in Maryborough and stuff. So, yeah. But anyway, like the misso, she's been fucking just on my back the entire time going, look, we need to keep up to date with White Lotus. And I'm like, I just do not fucking care. I just lost the NBL fucking finals. She's like, nah, if we get stuck behind, we're fucked. And I'm like, all right. So I've tried to cram it in, but we're up to date. And I'll tell you what, that last episode was fucked in the head, mate. What are you doing? Oh, gross. No spoilers or nothing, but fuck me dead. That is just, yeah, nah, mate, nah. So anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, you fucking know what I'm talking about. Either way, this show is fucking awesome. I know all I've said before is like Thailand. Fucking love going like, you know, Koh Samui and fucking Phuket and shit. It's like fucking, yeah, get on the fucking tins, the old singers and whatever. But either way, fucking great telly show though. Fucking talk about a mystery. I still don't know what the fuck's going on. So yeah, good show. The White Lotus, I reckon, gets about 22 out of 10 Dally ones from me. And that's it. Onward and upward to next NBL season as well. So we'll talk to you next time. Later, fuckos. Dally out. G'day, legends. Your mate Jim from NBA Straya here. That's right. I'm at the end of the show. Just giving you a quick reminder to make sure that you're subscribed, commenting, reviewing, all that sort of good stuff, and you're jumping on the old dabble using that code NBA Straya, clicking on the show link. G'day, legends. Your old mate Jim from NBA Straya here at the very end of the show. That's right. This is what we're going to call a bit of a thing at the end of the show. That's right. Hey, all I wanted to say was thanks for all the support over the years. All I need you to do is make sure that you're clicking on the links, just having a crack. Fuck. G'day, legends. Your mate Jim from NBA Straya here. That's right. I'm doing a thing at the end of the show. In the business, we call it a thing at the end of the show, I guess. I don't know. Either way, all I'm just saying is just make sure you're rating, reviewing, starring, subscribing across all of the apps that you use for NBA Straya. Jump in the comments. Give us a shout. We'll bang you in yeah, nahs. Any other questions? I'll have a crack. I've got nothing better to do, basically. Also, just ask any questions. Tell me what you want to hear from the show and sing out and let us know. And of course, if you want to help support the show, jump on the old dabble, use that code NBA Straya, click on the link that's in the show description or on the socials. It goes up whenever I do the morning vibes, etc. So if that's your thing, jump on there, use that code NBA Straya, and remember, look after yourselves, would you?